It's Classic Country 100.1 WGLC. Joining us on the phone, on the road in California, country music superstar Justin Moore. How are you doing, sir?
I'm great. How are you guys today?
We're having all sorts of fun. Now, you are going to be performing at the Bureau County Fair. That's in August, on August 25th in Princeton. Tickets on sale now at bureaucountyfair.com. How exciting is it to be back out on the road doing shows again?
It's great, man. You know, I thought we appreciated, what we got to do for a living prior to the last, few years, but certainly appreciate it now more than ever. And, to be back out touring and, have full capacity crowds, et cetera, it's awesome, man. So.
Now, you started off, those who aren't familiar with you, you started out way back in the early 2000s, and you wanted to be a performer. What was that first song you ever wrote?
Whatever it was bad. I can promise you that. You got to write a lot of bad ones to get one good one. But I will never forget the first song I wrote when I got to Nashville. It was a song called Long Way From Home, which I wanted to put on an album my entire career, never have. And moved to Nashville in 2002 and got a publishing deal in a year or so. And then 5 years after being there, signed my record deal in 2007 and put our first album out, our first single rather, and it went to 38, died. It was called Back That Thing Up. But the second song that I wrote when I moved to Nashville was Small Town USA, and it was pretty much just about being homesick. And so it's different now, but at the time, if you had a couple of misses in a row, you got dropped, and that was kind of all she wrote. But fortunately, our second single, Small Town USA, was a huge record for us and kind of set us on our path. The song struggled for a long time, and then it finally picked up some steam. And like I said, you always remember your first one, and it's always special because it's your first one. And I thought, man, after that, to now have 10 number one records 15 years later or whatever it is unreal.
That one was an awesome song. I loved it. Big into the early days of social media, you helped grow your fan base by using the internet. Do you even know if your MySpace is still running?
I don't know that. That's a good question. It was funny because I was doing an interview a couple of days ago, and when I first started my career, that was it for social media, internet stuff. That it was MySpace. I don't even think Facebook or certainly the rest of these social media apps didn't exist. But it wasn't until the midway point of my career where that became a big thing. So there was certainly a learning curve for me, and trying to use that stuff as best I could to help garner attention, and so I'm lucky to have a great team around me now that does all that. I don't have one social media app on my phone, but I've got a lot of good folks around me and younger folks who understand it and do a great job for us.
It's funny because a lot of times I've talked to many country music artists, and a lot of them, again, are like you, sort of blown away at the enormity of social media, so they take a step back from it and leave it to somebody else, which is always a good plan. I wish I could do that.
Leave it to the professionals, yeah.
Exactly. Now, you've had a couple of guys write some amazing songs for you, and you have a couple of guys you go to for some amazing tracks. How often are you blown away by when they approach you with a demo or a rough version of a song and say, we'd like this one for you? How often do you get like the chills, like, wow, this is just amazing?
It's somewhat rare, and you have to be very fortunate when you do hear those. I primarily co-write all of my stuff, or a lot of my stuff, not all of it, but when you do hear those songs like If Heaven Wasn't So Far Away, that's just an example where you go, wow. And I remember hearing that song right around the time my grandfather, who was my hero, passed away. And the song was 10 years old at the time and hadn't been recorded. And I just remember thinking, why has no one recorded the song? And just they sometimes just slip through the cracks. And I'm kind of a firm believer in songs just find a home, when and where they're supposed to. So we've been fortunate, to your point, to have that a handful of times in our career. But we've had a number of hit songs that have been love songs. They've done well for us, and we just have an unbelievable loyal fan base that it kind of has stuck with us throughout, no matter what we've done. And the same goes for you guys in country radio. Y'all have supported us from the get-go and continue to do so.
Now, you've been out on the road for almost 2 decades. Have you ever had that Beatles at Shea Stadium moment where you looked around and went, "This is it. This is big. This is the top of the mountain"? Have you had one of those moments on stage?
It seems to happen every few years where you have a moment where you go, "Holy cow, this is different than it was, a year ago or 2 or 3 or whatever." For me, pretty early age. I was probably a senior in high school, senior in high school before I realized this was kind of what I wanted to do, and just been very, very blessed that it worked out for us. My Grand Ole Opry debut was a big, big deal, obviously, as it is for every artist. And that was the moment where I thought, man, if I never do anything else, this right here is pretty cool. And then, when Small Town USA went top 20, when a song goes top 20 is about the time you really have the fans at concerts singing it back to you and that kind of stuff, because it's being heard in the daytime and all that. And I'll never forget, we played a show in Memphis when the song was at something like that, and the album had just come out, my debut album, and the crowd, I remember it was the first time I'd ever taken a bus anywhere. Prior to that particular show, we had been in a van, lugging our own gear and driving ourselves. And I remember looking out of the bus, asking my manager, I said, "Who are we opening?" "Nobody. This is just us." I go, "No, seriously, quit messing with me. Like, who are we opening for?" He goes, "I'm dead serious. It's just us." And we went on stage, and everybody sang every word to every song, and me and my band just looked at each other and going, "What the heck just happened? Like, this is different than last weekend. Like, what in the world happened?" And so, throughout my career, there have been moments like that, but that one always kind of stands out to me.
Joining us on the phone, Justin Moore, going to be at the Bureau County Fair August 25th in Princeton. Tickets on sale now at bureaucountyfair.com.
So, Justin, who is on your playlist right now? Who are you jamming out to?
I'm pretty boring as far as that's concerned. I listen to the same Waylon and Hank Jr., Johnny Cash albums, Vern Gosdin, Mark Chestnut, those guys, George Strait, that I've always listened to, kind of what I grew up on.
Now, when people go to see you live, what's the one song you and the guys have the most fun playing on stage?
Man, that's a good question. We just finished a new album, and we're playing a new song called Get Rich or Drunk Trying, which has been a lot of fun. It kind of changes, but what's wild is we've had 10 number one records and numerous other top 10s or whatever. But Beta Hook is the biggest song we play every night, and that song I think went to maybe 15 or something like that. So it wasn't our biggest charting song, but it's the most popular song we play every night, and I don't know what to attribute that to, but it's a lot of fun.
What was it like hearing your songs or one of your songs for the first time on the radio?
It was surreal. There's no doubt about that. I happened to be in Arkansas, near my hometown, which was kind of fitting. On my hometown radio station I grew up listening to, and where I kind of learned to love country music. So it was pretty special.
Awesome. Who would you love to write a song with or jam with on stage?
And everybody I've talked to, for the most part, the unanimous answer has typically been George Strait. Just so you know.
Yeah, that's certainly that's a good one. There's no doubt about that. We actually just had an opportunity in my home or near my hometown in Arkansas to play a show with them, which was just amazing. And I was just excited to get to go watch George Strait, but much less getting to play. But Randy Houser, Jamie Johnson, Luke Bryan was a couple of singles ahead of me. We knew each other before either of us had a record deal. A guy I'm playing a show with tonight, Chris Young. I remember he and I did all these radio shows together, acoustic, for like months. And his single at the time, Getting You Home, and Small Town USA were kind of flip-flopping on the charts. And one of us went number one, and then the next week the other one went number one. And so we've always had a close relationship because of that as well. So, but yeah, as far as influences, the same laundry list as everybody else, Waylon and Willie and Alan Jackson and George Strait. But my favorite artist of all time is Dwight Yoakam. Played a number of shows with him and gotten to know him. But to do, to be on stage with him or write a song with him would be probably the top of the mountain for me.
And you get to talk to a lot of folks with your podcast. Somebody wants to listen to your podcast and all that stuff. They have a website they can go to, right?
Yes. I believe it's justinmooremusic.com, but don't quote me on that.
If you
Google Justin Moore, you can find it.
I can quote you on that because that is your website.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay, good. 15 years in, I've finally learned that. But, yeah, you can find the podcast anywhere you find your podcast, whether Apple and all the other stuff. However you find them on your smartphone.
Awesome. Okay, thank you so much for joining us. Justin Moore, going to be at the Bureau County Fair August 25th in Princeton. Tickets on sale now at bureaucountyfair.com, and check out justinmooremusic.com. Thank you so much.
Hey, thanks for your time, guys. I appreciate it.